Alrighty then, we're going to do lesson 2 in Afrikaans for beginners. I did this specifically because it was requested from the first video. Please excuse me if the sound quality is not that great or if you hear noises around. I happen to be at school. There are lessons consistently happening. There are children running around. So not much that I can do to control it, but I'm doing the best I can with what I have. So without further ado, let us begin. Lesson 2, Afrikaans for beginners. We're going to be focusing on pronunciation. Really good news about Afrikaans. It is a phonetic language. Basically, all that means is you say words as you spell them, and you happen to spell words as you say them. So it's a fairly simple language to spell, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And we're going to be focusing on most of the spelling of Afrikaans today. And I hope you'll be willing to go through this video over and over while you're drinking coffee, while you're cooking. Even if you're not concentrating, it really does help to build vocabulary, build pronunciation. All right, so what do we have? Right, first thing is there are no silent letters. That is amazing. If you see a letter there, you say it. Got it? We're going to start with the short A. The short A is just like the English fun. Fun in English. Okay, so try and pronounce this word. Dumb means exactly what it looks like in English, a dam. Dumb. Okay, keep trying to pronounce the words before I say them, okay? Lump. Just like in English, a lamp. Lump. Atlas. Brilliant. Okay. So now we're going on to the long R, a lot like the English father. Let's see what we can find here. R. Okay. Afrikaans. Afrikaans. Not Afrikaans, hey? That means something completely different. Afrikaans. Klaar. Klaar there. Let me just go back to it. Where is it? Afrikaans en klaar. Where's klaar? Klaar simply means finished. Spaar. Spaar. So that spaar over there actually means to save, like to save money, or anything that is spare. Save or spare. Got it? Spaar. Okay, so the short E is a lot like the English pen. Okay, you even say pen in Afrikaans exactly like you do in English. Nothing to think about, right? Sometimes it does sound like the A in apple. Let's see what we can find. Bed. Bed. Hen. Both same meanings as English. Hen. Help. Help. Okay, it sounds kind of like the A in apple. But basically, it's just E. Okay? Okay, look at that second E in the word intelligent. Intelligent. Okay, now we're looking at the weak E. Okay? Water. Just like in the English, water. Water. Okay? Intelligent. Telegram. Intelligent, I think I kind of mixed up there. Doesn't matter. I think you kind of get it. Okay. Telegram was the one that we just did. Let's see. Intelligent in telegram. Great. We're moving on to the long E, closest to the English word beer. Beer. If you think of beer, and I put a mirror over there because I know that in American accents, sometimes when you guys say mirror, you say mirror. So I thought it might be helpful if you are watching us from the US of A, or if you're born there. Okay, but basically, long E is like the English beer. Gee, gee, which means to give. Tea, tea that we drink. Right, we're moving on to I. So it's a lot like the way that I say swim, swim. It might be helpful if you don't come from South Africa, but perhaps you come from the US, the UK, or I suppose sometimes even Australia. The way that you guys say I is slightly different. So perhaps it would be helpful for you guys to think of that I sound as urge, like the U in urge might help you a bit more because we don't actually say E. We kind of go here in South Africa when we see I. Okay? Un. Unk. Us. Got it? Just a slightly different pronunciation. Just kind of goes Sprung, which means to jump. Brung. Bring. Right, perfect. So the letter Y sounds a bit like the A in the English may. Okay, or like the A in okay. Let's see where we can find it. May in Afrikaans just means my. But I've given you another example here, bay, like an English bay by the ocean, right? Because when you say bay in Afrikaans, that means by. It could also mean bee, to be honest, like bee as in the bee that buzzes. Got you two other words here. What do you think this one is? Hey, he, and say, she. In most contexts, that word means she. Kry, to receive or to get something, right? Kry. Okay, now you may have noticed this earlier, but D at the end of a word sounds a lot like T. If D is in another part of the word, it usually just sounds like a D, but typically when words end with the letter D in Afrikaans, they sound like T. Like T, okay? It's completely indistinguishable. Let's see. Hunt. So the word for hand in Afrikaans has to sound a lot like the English word hunt. So I hope you can remember that because you hunt with your hand. Hunt. Bed. Op die bed. So bed in Afrikaans sounds exactly like, just wait for it to go back, sounds exactly like the English word bed, right? Op die bed. Bed. Blind. Okay, so let's move on to G. So if you're Mediterranean, and you can think of this as hummus, right? The H in hummus sounds like ch, or perhaps this might make sense to you. A lot like in Scotland when they say loch, like the Loch Ness monster. Okay, ch, just gargle. Begin. Gee. Grond. The ground is grond or soil, okay? Grond. The ground. Okay, so like most Germanic languages, the W becomes V. So you've just got to change your mind about the word W, I mean, the letter W. When you see W, can't think W anymore. For the most part, you just think V. Okay, like in vine. Got it? Try and burn that into your mind. It becomes a mental block for English speakers unless they decide that W can be V. You just got to decide that it can. Wind. Okay, so you take off your English brain, put on your Afrikaans brain, same word, just pronounced differently. Instead of wind, it's wind. Was, which means was or to wash, yeah? V. Week. Week was a week there, okay? Okay, so now the R is rolled like a royal rolling their R's. R, r. Warm. Waar, which means where. Daar, which means there. Okay, are you guys ready for a test? Did you take all of that in? I'm sure it's simpler than you thought. If not, no reason you can't go through it again. But you know what? How about we test ourselves? We're going to use a lot of the sentences that were used in video 1. In fact, I think we're using all of them. Okay, so just a reminder from lesson 1, if you haven't seen it, the word die means the. D. I know that when you see those 3 letters in English, it's something very ominous, right? But it means D. Okay, we haven't done double letters. We've done twin letters, but we haven't done double letters. So until we get there, just remember that IE makes a sound E, so it's D. The. Got it? Well then, let's move on and see if you can remember what these sentences mean as you try to pronounce them beautifully. Let's go. Okay, how do you say that sentence? Die water is warm. Die water is warm. Die water is warm. It's pretty clear what that means, yes? Bring die atlas. Bring die atlas. Bring die atlas. Spring in die water. Spring in die water. Spring in die water. Which of course there means jump in the water. Okay, remember to try and say the sentence before I do. Die wind was warm. Die wind was warm. Die wind was warm. Help die man. Help die man. Help die man. Die lamp is by die bed. Die lamp is by die bed. Die lamp is by die bed. Die student is intelligent. Die student is intelligent. We haven't really looked at you before, but just trust me, it's student, kind of like your lips are in a kissing formation, right? Student. Die student is intelligent. In die pen is ink. Did you get that? Well done. In die pen is ink. In die dam is water. Remember, we don't inflect that little E when we have I, otherwise it sounds quite foreign. If you want to sound like one of us, you would say in die dam is water. Even in English in South Africa, we don't really inflect very small E's. We either say them 100% or not at all. We sort of say milk, you know. In die dam is water. Rightio, where's my pretty graphics? Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope the sound quality wasn't too distracting. I don't think there were too many noises. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it's helpful to you. Please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments how that went for you. Thank you so much for joining. Bye. By all means, please freeze video. It's what I need in my life. Stop recording.